Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to an all-new reaction and review. Tonight, guys, I'm checking out a horror movie from 2004. That movie is Tremors 4, The Legend Begins. And, good God, that fucking subtitle. It's really a bad sign, guys, when I get to complain about the subtitle on a movie. But you know, when you're doing a prequel, and yes, Tremors 4 is totally a prequel to the first three films, probably the most lazy stock subtitle you can give to a prequel is The Legend Begins. The fact that they didn't put any effort into the title of this goddamn thing leaves me a little bit worried, okay? So, yes, this is a prequel to our first three Tremors films. I believe it's set in the 1800s at some point, where I believe it's still set in fucking Perfection. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's still in Perfection, Nevada. I'm almost certain that it is. And they have to deal with Graboids using 1800s tech, which I'm kind of curious about because the first film, they were having a hard time killing fucking Graboids with the highest powered guns they had. So I'm curious exactly what 1800s weapons are gonna do to these fucking things. I also have a couple other I have a couple other concerns involving it being a prequel, but I'm not gonna air those unless the movie leaves them, you know, open by the time the movie's done. I'm certainly hoping for this thing to be good. It almost has to be better than Tremors 3. Jesus fuck, Tremors 3 sucked so fucking hard. But the only way I'm going to find out if this thing is any good at all is if I shut up and I push play, and I'm going to do that right now. So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out Tremors 4, The Legend Begins. I can't put my finger on it, guys. There's something about Hiram Gummer that's getting on my fucking nerves. Which is sad, because his fucking ancestor Burt is one of the reasons to watch the first two movies. And he's, like, one of the few tolerable things in Tremors 3. But for whatever reason, they've written his, I'm going to assume, grandfather Hiram to be one of the most unlikable, stuck-up, snobby douchebags I think I've ever seen in any fucking film. And as much as I would love to see him fucking die, I know that he has to live in order for Burt Gummer to be a thing. So, I'm stuck with him for this fucking movie. And that may very well suck. Well, I guess now I know what, like, newborn Graboids look like. They're about this long, and they spring out of the dirt to fucking get you. I will say, in terms of new fucking Graboid forms, it's certainly a fuckload better than the bullshit we were offered in the third film. Shit, this actually poses a threat. And it's really fucking cool. Wow, and they can, like, take you down tandem, too. That was fucking creative and really fucking cool. I actually am kind of digging this, guys. So the Graboid eggs hatched because they vented the water from the hot spring in the mine to where the fossilized eggs were buried. Okay. You know, I honest to God was wondering how they were going to explain how these fucking things, you know, first showed up. That's really a cool explanation. I'm totally all for that. Really, guys, that is fucking creative. I'm digging that. Well, guys, we finally got our first look at a real, full-grown Graboid, and, you know, when I bitched about the puppet work in the third film, how that puppet Graboid in the third film looked like shit, they made up for it, man. That looked awesome! I am really fucking liking this thing, guys. I am still surprised, guys, that Hiram Gummer's got a gun that would probably make Burt Gummer weep. Burt Gummer, the resident gun nut of the Tremors franchise, his ancestor has a gun bigger than anything I've seen in any other fucking movie. It's got a 2-inch bore barrel, for fuck's sake. The goddamn thing's massive. I cannot wait to see this fucking thing fire. My God, I'm really... Jesus Christ, now we're seeing like a wide shot of this gun. I really want to see this fucker shot. I really do. I want to see this gun fired. It's probably going to be the coolest goddamn thing in the entire fucking movie, man. I cannot wait. Well, guys, that was Tremors 4, The Legend Begins. Let's shut that off. Holy shit. Alright, so before I get started with talking about the movie, I should warn, well, not warn, just mention that at the very start of this, when I went into this movie, I went into it expecting an absolutely horrendous movie. That's because Tremors 3 was so horrible, I feared there was no way in hell it was going to rebound. And what do you know? We got a fucking rebound, my friends. This movie was great. Oh my God. Now, mind you, it's not as good as Tremors or Tremors 2, but holy shit, it's almost as good. And oh man. So, alright, let's just try to talk about the movie, huh? Alright, so, story. I kind of like how, because they can't just call them Graboids in this film, because Graboid was a term coined by Chang in the first film, Chang's descendants came up with a different name. So, apparently in 1889, when they were dealing with these things, they were called Dirt Dragons, which, I should say, awesome name, not quite as cool as Graboids, but still really cool. So I kind of like how they were able to sort of weave their own little narrative. Now, I mentioned that there were some fears going into this. The big one being, because this is a prequel dealing with Graboids going into into what would have been late 1800s Perfection, Nevada. How the hell does nobody in this town have any clue about what the fuck happened? And I'm going to give a little bit of a spoiler, because they actually do explain it. At the very end, after they've beaten the Graboid, Dirt fucking Dragon, whatever you want to call them, menace, everybody in the town swears themselves to secrecy, to never speak of these things ever the fuck again. Now, you would think that they wouldn't speak about it publicly, but they'd probably talk of it to their families. Which would mean that the Chang family and the Gummer family and everybody else who have been living in Perfection, Nevada for about the last 100 years, would have some kind of legend like passed down. So it does still lead to a little bit of a question as to why literally nobody had even the foggiest fucking clue. Because again, like those, I mean, like, because like these sorts of legends are the kind of thing that gets passed down. No matter how much you swear everyone to fucking secrecy, it would be bound to get out. So that much sort of bugs me a little bit. But oh well, it's a minor, trivial nothing. I'm not going to, dwell on it much. So that actually was like my biggest fear about them doing a prequel, was how exactly are they going to explain a graboid infestation and have nobody have a single clue in the first film as to the fact that these bastards even fucking exist. At least they explained it. It was kind of a flimsy explanation, but oh well, I will totally take a flimsy explanation over no explanation. So awesome there. Characters. We have here a cast who is incredibly likable. I mentioned at the start that I just wasn't getting into the character of Hiram, Gummer. I will say, at the very start of the film, Hiram is an absolutely unlikable twat, and you're gonna wish him dead. But he actually does lighten up. He actually becomes more likable as the film goes on. And you kind of see where Burt gets a little bit of his gun nut shit in the first 3 films and in Tremors 5. So at least that much is sort of cool. They even have a whole lot of callbacks to the previous films. Such as when Hiram first comes to, town, he is there to speak to the head of his silver mine, who has not been writing back to him. And when they tell him that he left, Hiram says that he basically feels that he has been deprived of vital info. It basically was a callback to Burt saying almost the exact same thing upon running into the Shriekers in Tremors 2. It was that kind of shit. There's tons of callbacks, and I like that. I just loved all of the references to the previous films. That was really fucking cool. Our characters here are really, really likable. Our story here is great. It really is sort of a back-to-basics thing for Tremors, because Tremors 2 and Tremors 3 seem to be more focused on what exactly do these fucking things evolve into. And instead of doing that, this film shows what happens when they're basically, like, fresh out of the eggs, and they basically attack by, like, basically fucking, like, diving out of the dirt and just hitting you fucking head on, which is really fucking cool. Really, guys, writing here is incredibly strong, and I want to make this clear. I'm not a big fan of Westerns as a general rule. I mean, I can probably list a good maybe dozen Westerns I really like, and anything that has that kind of, like, style and most other things within that genre I'm not real big on. So for this thing to wow me and be this cool and still technically be a fucking Western, that's awesome. I mean, it's not near as good as, say, Tombstone or Hang 'em High or a lot of the other Westerns I've seen that I really like, but it's still really fucking cool. Guys, writing, I could probably go on, but the one thing I just have to say is the writing all by itself gives you ample reason to watch this movie. But why don't we touch on some of the other things, shall we? Like the acting. So for the fourth straight film, we have Michael Gross playing a member of the Gummer family, and he does a great job at it. You know, and our entire cast does a fantastic job pulling off their characters and making this movie work. I absolutely loved every single character here, and I love the way that the actors played them. And if we had shit actors in here, the movie would have suffered horrendously. So I am going to give mad props to our cast. You guys absolutely knocked this thing out of the fucking park. That's amazing. Special effects. So I bitched about the CG in Tremors 3, and I commented on the CG in Tremors 2. Tremors 4 has, for the most part, gone back to basics in terms of puppets and practical shit. There is certainly some CG in there, but I'm going to tell you, the CG here, worlds better than what was in Tremors 3, and a hell of a lot better than what was in Tremors 2. The CG here is probably the best CG you will see in the entire franchise. I say that, I may very well change that after I watch Tremors 5, but out of the first four, this one definitely just shines when it comes to CG. But I'm happy to see that we've gone back to a lot more practical stuff, and the practical stuff looks fucking amazing. I'm talking as good as Tremors and Tremors 2 in terms of the puppets and in terms of the practical effects. All of that is really, really fucking cool. Oh, I have to go back to writing for just a sec, because I was playing up the punt. It is called a punt gun. That gigantic, like, handheld cannon that Hiram uses. The one that has, like, the 2-inch wide bore, and essentially fires, like, ball fucking bearings about yay big, and just pour them in. I honest to God thought that was going to be, like, the moment of the movie. I honest to God thought that thing firing was going to be the kill. And then the next two top that. I honestly don't know if the death using the steam engine, killing the Graboid with the steam engine, or killing it with a fucking saw is better. And the saw kill? No, fuck it. The saw kill is by far the best. Because you see it fucking coming, and when it hit, the only thing I said was, dude, awesome! As the Graboids' blood's like oozing up. I'm not gonna spoil how the saw kill happened. You guys just have to see it to fucking believe it. It is great. So I just wanted to touch on that. I guess I can also touch back on writing a little bit humor, because Tremors has always been sort of a horror, comedy kind of a thing, and the humor here is ridiculously sharp. I am talking Tremors and Tremors 2 level sharp. It is not the juvenile pig shit we saw in Tremors 3. Oh boy, what else can I talk about? Sound mix here is really good. Our fucking camera work here is awesome. Our sets, I really, similar honestly to Hiram as a character, I didn't know if I was going to grow on the sets, because the buildings in this town, the buildings in Rejection are literally just frontal fucking facades with tents built in the background. And it looks really cheap, but it's supposed to look cheap. And I, honest to God, did not think I was going to get used to it. I did. And that's because it's actually kind of sort of charming in a little small town sort of way. So that's awesome. All right, I just wanted to touch on that because I don't normally touch on sets, but this time I kind of feel that it was necessary. Thinking if there's anything else I can really talk about. Soundtrack here, as has been the case with many of these Tremors films, our score, it is just a score here. We don't have a proper soundtrack, but the score here is amazing. So, I mean, it really does help set the fucking mood. It's great. Lighting here is awesome. Guys, when all is said and done, can I recommend Tremors 4: The Legend Begins? Yes, I fucking can, and if I could go back in time and make Tremors 3 never fucking happen, and make this thing Tremors fucking 3, I would. Because then we would have an amazing trilogy of films, instead of three awesome films with a really shit one kind of popped in the fucking middle. Yes, I can absolutely recommend Tremors 4. This movie was great. And as for the 4-movie pack, you can probably buy this thing in most places now for about $7. And you know what? Since 3 out of the 4 movies are fucking awesome, that price is well worth it. Yes, I can totally recommend this fucking 4-pack. You just gotta probably skip past Tremors fucking 3. I would totally say just take the fucking disc and throw it out. Problem is, it's 2 movies to a fucking disc, so Tremors 4 is kind of saddled with Tremors fucking 3 like a horrendous unwanted tumor on that fucking disc. So yes, I can absolutely recommend this fucking box set. This sucker is gonna have a real happy spot in my fucking Blu-ray collection, because guess what? 3 out of 4 ain't fucking bad at all. Now, this entire Tremors 4-pack came off the Amazon wishlist. The person who sent it in was Scorp. Yeah, I'm sorry guys, I have like multiple names on my little notepad here. Scorp, you can find his YouTube channel at youtube.com/user/scorpion104. Scorp, I thank you. When I started this month, I had no clue if these were going to be any fucking good. And after the 3rd one failed me that badly, I was terrified of even looking at the 4th one. But the 4th one was awesome, as were the 1st and 2nd, and I wouldn't have known that if you hadn't have sent these in, and for that I thank you. You're fucking amazing, my friend. Once more, that is youtube.com/user/scorpion104. Now, I mentioned a couple of westerns earlier, and I kind of feel like I should continue the western vibe. And I see Tombstone, I see Hang 'em High, I see the fucking Dollars, trilogy, and I see Django Unchained all on my Blu-ray shelf. I'm gonna need to go pick a couple of those and just marathon the fuck out of them, because I want more westerns right now. In fact, I kind of wish I had a copy of the fucking Shootist. I'd probably put in that also, because the Shootist is really an awesome John Wayne Western. If you guys haven't seen it, find it and watch it. It's really cool. Similar to most of these. Anyway, I'm going to go marathon a couple more fucking Westerns because that just sounds really awesome right now. And with that, we come to the close of another reaction and review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.